everybody. We'll start in just a minute here. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning and welcome to our 6th Vision Zero Task Force meeting for the City of San Jose, and also the last task force meeting of this calendar year, 2021. I am Councilmember Raul Perales and your task force chair, and I am joined by our task force vice chair, Councilmember Pam Foley. And before we get started, I would like to take a few minutes to remember the people who have perished on our streets since our last task force meeting on September 23rd, 2021, up until December 9th of 2021. These are members of our community. They are family and friends who we have lost too soon. I'm going to call out names of 6 road traffic victims, and then Councilmember Foley will call out the other names of 6 victims. We have Donald Torzo, Daniel Bugarin Hernandez, an unnamed male motorist, James Brian Peacock, an unnamed male motorist, and Vincent Burgos Sr.
Rosalind Burgos, Brett Miller, Sarjeet Guman, male bicyclist, female pedestrian, male pedestrian. May they rest in peace.
Thank you. Recalling last year's Vision Zero Task Force meetings, in the previous task force meetings, we provided updates on outreach data and the progress the Vision Zero program has been making and what the City of San Jose is working on in the second half of this year. Vision Zero is an effort that brings data analysis and community outreach together to better understand of which safety projects and strategic cross-department initiatives are the most impactful in reducing crashes, severe fatal injuries, and to prioritize safety projects and infrastructure improvements based on the data and our community's feedback. Today, there are updates on the Vision Zero Strategic Communications Program, which has development of a comprehensive strategic and tactical communications plan and analysis of public perceptions, attitudes, and behaviors. The Vision Zero Strategic Communications Program has 4 phases: strategic communications, planning, development of outreach materials and strategy, production of outreach materials and implementation of outreach strategy, and lastly, the evaluation of strategic communications plan and implementation. And today, MIG and EMC Research will provide an overview of the survey process. And throughout today's meeting, I'm going to encourage everybody to think about how DOT can better leverage opportunities to collaborate with other departments and your agencies to improve street safety. There will be a task force member discussion after each presentation. 15 minutes after reports and updates, we will hear about the 3rd quarter traffic fatality data and action plan progress. And then also after the consultant's presentation, we will have more comments allowed. That will be followed by open forum from the public to comment at the end of our meeting. And I appreciate everybody's participation throughout this past year, especially as we've continued on through Zoom, through this pandemic, and certainly appreciate your input today. And at this time, I'll be doing the roll call. I'll be calling out the department organization name. And if the representative could identify themselves by name and title, that would be most appreciated. And we've already listed myself and our vice chair. So from our City of San Jose Department of Transportation, our director.
Hi, this is John Risto, Director of Transportation.
Welcome. And from City of San Jose Police Department.
Hi, good morning, Lieutenant Dave Anaya with the Traffic Enforcement Unit.
Welcome, Lieutenant. And from our City of San Jose Fire Department,
Good morning, Robert Sapian, Fire Chief.
welcome, Chief. And Public Works, I believe we had Christy Chung. She may not be in yet. And from our Parks Department, I see Neil Rufino is not able to attend today. From Economic Development, I believe Sal Alvarez might be attending, but late. From our Planning Department, we did not get an RSVP. And from our City of San Jose Housing Department,
Good morning, Reagan Henninger, Deputy Director of the Housing Department.
good morning, Reagan. And from VTA,
Good morning, Angelique Galletta, Chief of System Safety and Security.
welcome, Angelique. And from County Roads and Airports,
Hi, it's Harry Freitas. I'm the Director of Roads and Airports. We also have 100 staff.
Anand Prasad, I'm the acting county traffic engineer, also the deputy director. Thank you.
welcome. Thank you both. From County Public Health,
Good morning. My name is Rhonda Clinton Brown. Happy to be here.
welcome, Rhonda. Thank you. And from County EMS,
Good morning. I'm Jackie Lowther. I'm the EMS Director for Santa Clara County.
welcome. Thank you for joining. And our County Medical Examiner, Kurtner. I don't see Candace here yet. All right. County Office of Education,
Good morning. I'm Dr. Marianne Dewan, County Superintendent of Schools.
thank you. Welcome. And from Cal Walks,
Good morning. This is Teresa Dole, Project Coordinator for Walk San Jose.
morning, welcome. And the Silicon Valley Bike Coalition, don't see anybody here. And lastly, we've got AARP.
Good morning, this is Joe Glenn representing San Jose ARP Advocacy Team.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us this morning. All right, moving on to notation of our meeting minutes. Meeting minutes from the last Vision Zero Task Force meeting on September 23rd were posted on the Vision Zero website. As you know here, we do not take a vote on those, but you may reach out to our staff directly with any comments, and we will update the minutes as necessary. Just a couple of housekeeping items. This meeting is being recorded as always. It will be posted. Panelists have been muted by default. We've been working through this now, so you can use the raise hand function to be able to speak, and you unmute yourself accordingly. And attendees will have an opportunity to publicly comment at the open forum section. This is due to the short nature of the meetings and the large number of panelists that we have here. And all right, speaking of limited time, we're going to do our very best to stay with the prescribed times and agenda. If you would like to speak at open forum, you can raise your hand now if you wanted to get it in the queue, or press *9. That'll help us to gauge how much time we may need at the end and how much time we can give for public comment. And closed captions should be enabled. Yes, great. And you can turn on that feature if you need it. All right, that takes us to our reports and updates. This is agenda item 2. We have Jesse Mintz-Roth from Department of Transportation will give us some updates on the Vision Zero key metrics, updates on the Vision Zero action plan, priority action areas. We'll follow that, and then also presented by Jesse Mintz-Roth. And then Lieutenant Anaya from SJPD will present. We also have 3 guests today: Ann Jasper, Vu Dao, and Dao Win on program updates. And now, Jesse, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Perales. Hopefully everyone can see my slides. I'm going to begin, as I usually do, talking about the data trends, and also with the important disclaimer that when we talk about traffic fatality data, that we're talking about our friends and neighbors here in San Jose. The data that we're showing on this first slide is for the date ending at the end of November, so showing 55 fatalities so far for the year. There is now an additional 56th, which is not in these data slides that we recently learned about, but so we'll be talking about the 55. In general, though, as we're now into our last month of the year, we're looking to see where this year will be compared to past years, and where it's looking so far is among our highest years, even though traffic patterns are not back to normal exactly after the pandemic. They're different. But nonetheless, we're seeing in 2021 that people killed while walking is still the biggest category. But we're also seeing growth in some other category by mode, particularly cyclists. 8 so far this year is higher than it's been in the last 5 years or in the last 10 years, I believe. And actually the other category that's really unusual is motorcyclist fatality. Previously our high was 5, and now at 9 with the year not done. That one is a big difference, although is also something that other cities are seeing. If we look at traffic crashes by month, you can see that the blue line, which represents 2021, if we look at cumulative injuries by month, we're on the low side. That speaks to the lower traffic volumes in 2021 overall. But if you look at fatal and severe injuries, which is abbreviated as KSI, the trend line for 2021 is at the higher end of the last 5 years, but basically sort of in range, but nonetheless sort of the very, very high end of the range. And then if we look at cumulative fatalities by month, you'll see that 2021 actually went above for most of the months of the year, the existing range the last 5 years. At November and December are typically higher months, which is part of the reason that we do some of the campaigns that we do, such as Look Out When It's Dark Out, which is the image behind me here, because we know that those are going to be high months, but as we come into them now, we're still at the highest end, and so we're really hoping that with all the new efforts that we're doing under Vision Zero, that will not go above the range at the end of the year. Nonetheless, holiday season tends to be a high traffic fatality period, and so we're hoping that it's not too bad this year. Looking at a little more data about the fatalities that the council members just read in the introduction, you can see that we had a lot fewer in the interim since the last task force compared to the one before it. But the majority are motor vehicle occupants, and one of the fatalities, number 50, involved both the driver and passenger, both older adults. We've had 2 pedestrian fatalities and 1 cyclist and 1 motorcyclist in this period. Looking at this data on a more sort of year-to-date type level, which seems from our standpoint a little bit easier to relate to, 45% of them, so 25 of the 55 we're reporting on, have occurred on our priority safety corridors. Typically, it's 30 to 40%, so 45% is high. We were also noticing that there's a large percentage occurring during dark hours. We haven't really focused as much on how this percentage looks compared to previous years, but it is a very high percentage. We have talked about how people killed while walking are the biggest group by mode. And in our last task force, and we're mentioning it here again, among those are people crossing outside crosswalk, 65%. So we're really interested in understanding more about that number. Does it mean people who crossed close to existing crosswalks or people who crossed far from existing crosswalks? We've done some research to try and understand how far the spacing is between traffic signals on our priority safety corridors. And on average right now, it's actually over 1,000 feet, which is a very long distance for pure pedestrian. So that's an interesting thing that we, I think is a useful insight for us going forward. There's a large percentage of male drivers involved in the crashes, 37 out of 55. And also another one that is definitely coming up through our conversations about Monterey and Kurtner Tully is the number of people experiencing homelessness who are involved in these fatalities. It's not maybe as high as some people might think. 11 of 55 is that high. I think it's high, but you know, it's not. It's a fifth. So looking at those ones in a little bit more detail, we see that 82% of them, or 9 of 11, happened when it was dark out. So we plan to do more messaging around that finding, and I'll be talking about that a little bit more later. So now I'm going to go into the 6 priority action area updates. And in this section, we'll be hearing from a number of my colleagues here at San Jose DOT. And we're excited to add them as presenters to this Division 0 task force. And so for the first one, we will be giving a live demonstration of the new Urban Logic tool. Urban Logic is our vendor that we brought on earlier this year. We're about, I'd say 6 or 7 months into this project since they've been brought online. And so basically in the last 6 months, we've been developing the features in this tool. And only in the last month have we begun to roll it out to users inside San Jose DOT. So at the moment, it's only available to users inside San Jose DOT. But even to bring it to the point now where we are, to have one of our internal staff demo it to you is quite exciting, because that means that, you know, obviously Tao is one of the people who've been very closely involved in developing this tool, but we're excited to have our internal staff learn to use it to be able to answer a lot of the questions that the previous slides raise. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Tao.
Thank you, Jesse. Please give me a few minutes to share screen. Can you see my screen now? Okay. Thank you. My name is Tao Nguyen, Associate Transportation Specialist at San Jose DOT. I'm with the Vision Zero team focusing on understanding our data. As Jesse mentioned, the Urban Logic platform is ready for our internal use. We are still asking for feedback from DOT to continue improving the platform. Today, we will briefly go through the main feature of the crash analysis. As you can see, the platform auto-populates all crashes in the city of San Jose with the selected time frame, which is from 2016 to 2020. This time frame can be customized. This tool allows us to aggregate crashes and run queries with different scenarios. So let's try to aggregate by intersections. Besides intersections, we also have option to aggregate by city council district, engineering and traffic survey segments, and also by Vision Zero safety corridors. Here you can see that the bigger the bubble, the more crashes there are at those intersections. And now let's take a closer look at the crash analysis. So from this crash analysis dashboard, it provides a variety of information, including corridors and intersections with the most crashes or fatal and severe injuries, as well as collision type, age, violation, and lighting. From this dashboard, we can see that all of our priority safety corridors are among the corridors with the highest KSI. And to better understand the magnitude of the KSI on the corridors, Urban Logic will be developing a draft of KSI per mile for the city. Now let's take a closer look at one of our priority safety corridors. I'm going back to our use case. In the area of interest, we can select Vision Zero safety corridors. And let's use Center Road as an example, because we recently completed a project here, and we will also be doing a before and after evaluation for this corridor. So with this tool, you will see that we are able to select a corridor and get more insights on the crashes. Let's wait a little bit for it to run. here it really jumped out that Center at Turley Road and Capitol Expressway have the most crashes. Again, if we look at the crash analysis report, we can see information about violation, lighting, collision type, age, weather, and traffic control type. If we want more information on specific intersection to understand the trends, this tool also allows us to do so. So let's remove aggregation here and say, I am interested in, oh, let's try to remove the aggregation. And then go back to, okay, wait. Awesome. And now go back to our crash analysis user case. So here, say I am interested in looking at a specific intersections. And let's try Capitol Expressway and Center Road. Because through this tool, we learned that Center and Capitol Expressway is among one of the intersections on Center Road with the highest KSI. We have reached out to the county and discussed collaborating on improvements to make this intersection safer. We are still in the early stages of using this tool, but there's a lot of different use cases we can run to help us understand trends that can offer insight on how to redesign our roadways to prevent crashes in the future. And again, it is trying to run the queries. Here you can see that all of the crashes at Capitol Expressway and Center Road show up. And again, we can select run to read the report and also add filter if we want to see like specifically only KSI or other queries. With that, I will hand it back to Jesse.
Thank you, Tao. Let me just bring the presentation back up. Go. Great. So following on that item, we have, just a moment. Oh dear, sorry. Okay. Number 2, of course, was to form a Vision Zero task force. And so we're at number 6 now. And I will move on to the third area, which is to strategize traffic enforcement, and hand it over to Lieutenant Anaya.
Good morning. Jesse, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Want to make sure. So our presentation or our slide is basically just a comparative analysis of our activity here in the traffic enforcement unit and what we do as far as citations and enforcement throughout the city. So in our slide, there's obviously information from 2019, and we did not collect or gather warnings in 2019 as just a reminder. And then in 2020, we started collecting warnings due to COVID, just to show our level of activity and what we were doing in the traffic enforcement unit. And then now in 2021, we're back to kind of a more a full enforcement type model where we're issuing less warnings and more citations for the violations that we stop motorists for. So if you look at our Q3, which is the highlighted area in green, in 2019 we wrote 1,871 citations, and then in 2020 we dropped down to 414 during the same time frame. But again, the warnings that are in there equates to about 890 stops for motorists. And now jumping ahead to 2021, For the same quarter, we issued 4,012 citations, issued 228 warnings for a total of 4,240 stops. And again, this information that I'm providing is just our traffic enforcement unit. This is the data that I collect. It does not include stops that are being made by other officers in the department and other bureaus and divisions such as patrol or our other units that are doing proactive enforcement. But what we did see, obviously, is you look at the comparison on the previous year to the right side of the slide, quarter 3 2020 versus quarter 3 2021, we had an increase of 3,352 citations. So quite an increase. The traffic enforcement unit has grown, and our staffing is continuing to grow, I hope. And I think you see a direct result there of the information that you see in our slide versus quarter 3 when you see that large number of increased citations that we've written. So with that info, Jesse, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our Look Out When It's Dark Out campaign, which is also the image behind me here. Typically at this time of year, as I mentioned, we tend to see a increase in fatalities due to the darker, basically that it's darker from November to March. And so when the clocks go back, it becomes darker, and it is darker now. We're approaching the darkest time of year. And so we've had 7 deployments of changeable message signs, which we sometimes call CMS signs or CMS boards on our Vision Zero corridors, at locations that have had recent traffic fatalities starting on November 15th, and they'll continue through the end of February 2022. The Vision Zero corridors that have higher numbers of traffic fatalities: Monterey Road, McKee Road, McLaughlin Avenue, Center Road, Tully and Kurtner, Capitol Expressway, will have 2 to 3 deployments this year, and San Jose PD is coordinating with traffic enforcement. And I'm going to hand it back over to Dave for a moment just to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so just some brief information on the Look Out When It's Dark Out campaign. As Jesse mentioned, the signage goes out in those corridors, and we take a look at that to really just to provide the information to motorists that, hey, just to be careful and take that extra time. But at the same time, what we do is we've coordinated with DOT and Jesse and his staff and looked at those times. Once those messaging boards are out, we provide that education piece, and then we go out and we provide the enforcement piece of that puzzle. And so in the last, just this past week, because this is a newer program and the SMS boards just came out, we did start our enforcement campaign in those areas. So just to give you an idea of what we've done, Monterey and Branham area, we wrote 28 citations for speeding on Monday. And then on Tuesday, Monday we were at Monterey and Kurtner. On Monday we wrote 27 speeding citations, a few for no U-turns and some seat belts and other things. And then on Tuesday, we were back over at Monterey and Branham for 28 for speeding and 5 citations for some other things. So a total of right about 65 citations during that campaign, just in the first 2 days that we've worked out there. Some of those are during day shift hours, but our high level of concentration is during nighttime because it is the Look Out When It's Dark Out campaign. Another thing that we've been able to do is create our enforcement strategies a little bit more targeting towards nighttime hours because, again, I think most of you remember in the task force that we did transition and bifurcate the traffic enforcement unit, and we now have 2 teams. We have a day shift team, and then we have a modified swing shift team that works until 8 p.m. So we're able to target those areas a little bit better this year now that it's dark and now that we have that modified swing team with our increased staffing. So just kind of wanted to give you guys a quick update on that because Jesse had that in the slide, and those are kind of fresh off the numbers are fresh off the press for this week. So Jesse, I'll give that back to you.
Thank you. So moving a little bit over to safety messaging around back to school, we wanted to highlight a recent tweet from the San Jose Police Department Twitter from late August 2021. And so I'm going to play the video now. Hopefully you will hear the audio from it.
Students are headed back to schools. Roads are getting busier. Please drive carefully in school zones. especially in pickup and drop-off. We are stepping up traffic enforcement, but we need your help to keep our roads safe. California law requires drivers to stop when a school bus extends its stop sign.
And so moving over to the fourth area of the action plan, which is to increase community outreach and engagement, I'm now going to hand the mic over to Ann Jasper, who's going to talk about our new Viva Escuela San Jose program.
Thank you, José. Yeah, I'm Ann Jasper, and I manage the Walk and Roll program for City of San Jose DOT. And we ran a pilot project this fall in coordination with International Walk to School Day called Viva Escuela. So this was an open streets event that, that we implemented at two elementary schools, Backrot Elementary and Horace Mann Elementary. So if you think about, Viva Calle with having the streets closed to motorized traffic, this is what Viva Escuela is on a much smaller scale for two schools. We don't really have a pattern of deaths or serious traffic injuries during school pickup and drop-off times, thankfully, in San Jose. But we do want to educate kids about safe pedestrian and bicycling practices in order to prevent such injuries and deaths. Next slide, please. So here are the maps of where the street closures were to motorized traffic at Horace Mann and Backrot. So we closed one block of street in front of each of these schools to motorized traffic for 2 hours prior to the morning bell at each of these schools. That includes 1 hour of setup time so that we could put together the educational activities and information resource tables, which enhanced the experience for both students and parents and caregivers. We coordinated these closures with VTA to adjust bus routes where needed, and the San Jose Police Department diverted car traffic around the closures. Office of Cultural Affairs worked with us to ensure that the surrounding neighborhoods were also notified in time in advance of the closures so that they could adjust their commutes and other activities accordingly. Next slide, please. So after planning with all these different agencies, we finally got to have these special events. So this was the very first one that we had of the two at Backrot Elementary School. So some of the activities that we had were a pledge to walk and roll. So a lot of schools in San Jose have monthly or weekly walk to school days or walking Wednesdays, and kids are encouraged to walk, bike, or scooter on those days. So this pledge was something that students could sign up and promise to walk and roll on these special days. So we gave these pledge signups to the principal of each school so they could display it however they wish. We also used this opportunity to debut our new bike rodeo setup. A bike rodeo is where we teach kids about how to bike safely without having to actually bike on the roads. And so we have a new mini town setup. So we have pretend cars, a street signal with a pedestrian signal. We also have railroad crossings, things like that. So the kids get a little bit more of a real world, kind of like a simulated experience of what it's like to walk and bike in San Jose. And then we also had some fun activities like giant Jenga here. Next slide, please. So this was the Viva Escuela that we held at Horace Mann Elementary, which is right across the street from City Hall, so right downtown. And as you can see, Councilmember Perales is pictured on the left, giving encouraging remarks to kids about walking and biking to school. He also did this at Backrot Elementary, and we thank you, Councilmember Perales, for participating in these two events. He also explained the purpose of Vision Zero and our goals to reduce deaths and serious traffic injuries to zero on our San Jose streets. And there's a larger picture at the bottom of our mini town. And the nice thing about this setup is not only does it serve to help students understand how to bike safely around San Jose, but also how to be a safe pedestrian. So here you can see that that's actually me instructing a student on how to look for the pedestrian walk, don't walk signals, and how to make eye contact with drivers so that they can cross the street safely. One of the resource tables is also pictured here. This is Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, talking to a parent about various injury prevention resources that they offer. And they also talk to kids about how to wear a helmet safely and why to wear one when they're biking or scootering. Next slide, please. And these are some of the community partners that participated to help us promote safe use of the streets. So we had Somos Mayfair there. We had BTA talking about public transit. As I mentioned earlier, we had Santa Clara Valley Medical Center there to talk about proper helmet use. California Walks was there. Teresa Doe was actually managing the resource tables at both Baccarat and Horace Mann, and we thank you for doing that. And she had a kind of a nice, like a Jeopardy themed trivia activity that kids could participate in and answer questions about being safe while they're walking. And then the San Jose Public Library Maker Spaceship was on hand for our Baccarat Elementary Viva Escuela, and they distributed free books to students who wanted those. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Anne. So now, keeping on the school theme, we're going to talk about a new project that we're working on with UC Berkeley and San Jose State, and also Escuela Popular, which is a school on the east side of San Jose along White Road. It's called Y Plan, and it's been done in a number of other cities, and I think this is their first time coming to San Jose, so it was exciting to work with them. The idea here is to engage school students about the road safety around their school. And so the group of students that we worked with in this first project in San Jose are adult learners, primarily Spanish speaking, or nearly entirely Spanish speaking actually. And they are working to get their GED, so their age range is 18 plus. But you know, it was really interesting to present about the work we do and do a site visit with them, which you can see here is when it was dark out. In fact, passing one of our signs that says "Look out when it's dark out," because their classes meet after the workday. And so we met with them in October and did this site visit and walked down from where their school is, which you can see is the red dot on the slide, down to the intersection of Rock Avenue. And it was right after we rolled out Urban Logic for internal use in DOT. And so we were able to show these maps from Urban Logic for this other project. And their school is located near the larger, so you see 3 large circles on both of these maps. Their school is located near the top large circle, just to the north of that large circle. And so Rock Avenue, where we walked to in the site visit, is one of the intersections in White Road that has the most crashes and the most fatal and severe injuries on the corridor. And also this section from Alum Rock to McKee is on our pavement list for next year. So we're using this project to take input from the community through that school and that classroom as part of that project. This slide shows an existing project that we have coming through on McKee Road. This is a capital project, so it has been in planning for years, but it will be constructed, we estimate, in 2022, 2023. You can see as part of this project that there are slip ramps on 3 corners, and in the capital plan redesign for this intersection, 3 of those slip lanes will be taken out and look more like the existing southeast corner, which is more of like a normal intersection. So for the last slide in this section, we wanted to show our new palm card that we are about to have printed for unhoused outreach, which is called Cross in the Crosswalk. And it takes the design that we used for Lookout When It's Dark Out. We wanted to make the message a bit more direct. And so we really want to encourage people to cross in the crosswalk where there is one, such as, for example, Monterey and Kurtner Tully. A lot of the fatalities that occurred there involved people who are crossing outside the crosswalk, but near an existing one. So some of the other things that are shown in this image, but not said, but just shown, are obviously that there's the walk signal on, and obviously that it's dark out. And so those are the underlying messages in the image. And then we have some safety crossing tips on the back, which are in 3 languages. And we'll be working with actually some of the partners here on the task force to distribute this in the coming months. And I think we'll be using it citywide eventually, although I think we'll be beginning at the locations where our data most suggests that we need to do engagement with people experiencing homelessness. So we will be hearing more about the Vision Zero safety messaging in the next part of the presentation. So I'm going to continue on to the next area, which is an update of the quick build data-driven safety improvement projects. And I will hand the mic over to Vu Dao.
Thank you, Jesse. Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the task force. My name is Vu Dao. I am an engineer with the City of San Jose Department of Transportation. As you know, redesigning our roadways using quick build approach is a focus area in our Vision Zero initiative. This past year, we had implemented approximately 6 miles of quick build safety improvements, covering 3 Vision Zero priority safety corridor segments, and they are Central Road, Fruitdale Avenue, and Story Road. These quick build improvements may include elements such as reconfiguring the travel lanes and reallocating the space to create buffer and protect the bike lanes for bicyclist safety and comfort, installing quick build curb extension and crosswalk enhancement to improve pedestrian safety, and minor signal modifications such as hardware upgrade and signal timing change and streetlight upgrades. So the images that you see on the screen are sample of the recent projects that we completed. The image in the middle is Central Road, where you see protected bike lane with a vertical post separation that provides ample space for bicyclists. The top right image also Central Road. You will see protected bike lane again with curb extension. At the bottom right image is Story Road. There's enhanced crosswalk with curb extension and signal hardware upgrade with the yellow backplate. So these are some of the typical quick build safety improvements that we are implementing as part of our program. Next slide, please. In the upcoming months, we will be working on Hillsdale Avenue, Story Road Phase 2, and also Branham Lane, totaling approximately 8 miles of improvement. One of the projects that we like to highlight is Hillsdale Avenue. Currently, Hillsdale is very wide roadway with high speed, 6 lane of traffic. Unfortunately, this year, there were 2 members of our community that lost their lives on this segment. So as part of this project, we will remove the excess travel lane and reallocate that space to create high quality bike lanes. In our previous presentation, we emphasized that speed continues to be the top known factor that leads to severe and fatal injury crashes. So it is a fundamental predictor of crash survival. The higher the speed, the higher the chance of someone getting seriously injured or killed in a crash. So when we have the opportunity to redesign our street, we always aim to make speed less enticing by making our roadways feel less open and create that narrow perspective. So as part of the project, we will also be converting the two-way left turn lane to a quick-built median island and make improvements at the intersection. So construction will start in the spring, this coming spring. So that was a short update to our quick build effort as part of the Vision Zero initiative. We are excited and we look forward to tackling these roadway segments to make them safer for all roadway users. As always, thank you for your time and thank you for the opportunity. Back to you, Jesse.
Thank you, Vu. For the last segment of the priority action areas, there's prioritizing resources on high fatal and severe injury corridors and districts. And in this section, we want to talk about developing our before-after project evaluation process. So after the projects that Vu just described are built, what happens next? And that is that we are building an evaluation process similar to ones used in other Vision Zero cities. And it will have, to begin, two different time sections. The first is a qualitative report where we will have people on the street who will go and interview people to ask what they think of the project on the street. And so that will come about 6 months after implementation is completed. And then we want to use a full year of after data to do the quantitative analysis. And so that requires waiting until the end of the completion of the project and then waiting for a full year of after data to occur. And then that data needs to be input into the system and analyzed. So there may be more than an exact year for this. But the process that we're at now is basically estimating the cost it will do of putting this all together for a lot of projects, which is a new thing for us. So it's data collection costs and staff analysis and project management. It is creating a data collection plan that basically understands the project and understands the type of data that need to be collected to evaluate the project, collecting that data before the project, and then collecting the same type of data after the project and analyzing that. So for this, the first projects that we anticipate going through this and being evaluated are Center Road, which was completed in the quick build group that Vu leads, and then McLaughlin Avenue, which is a capital project, which is also I believe completed in 2020. And so we're near, I believe that we may soon have a year of after data for that as well. And so this is the end of the first presentation. So I will hand it back over to Councilmember Perales.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for all the information. I have a couple questions, but I'm going to go over to members of the task force first. And I see our Vice Chair, Councilmember Foley.
Thank you. And thank you for all of the presentations, really good information. I have a couple of questions regarding the traffic enforcement unit and the crashes that are listed. Are those, I assume those crashes are related to police reports being issued? Is that how that data is collected? Where is Lieutenant Anaya? Are you there? There he is.
Yes, I am.
Sorry. Couldn't find your name, Lieutenant.
Yeah, so the information that's provided to DOT and DOT gathers that information is all provided and comes directly from our police report data entry.
Okay, so do we have any, and I don't know how we would collect this actually if there's no police report, but do we have any understanding or ability to access data on accidents that have occurred without a police report?
We do not to my knowledge. So there is some information, and usually what we're referencing here when we look at collisions, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse, we're looking at injury reports. And so most accidents that are not reported are typically, and granted, I'm sure there is some that go unreported where there's an injury, but the majority of ones, when there's an injury, that's when the PD responds and we take a report.
Okay, thank you, that's helpful. And you had mentioned that the traffic enforcement unit, you've had increased number of officers. Can you tell me what your numbers are at this point?
So right now in our enforcement side, which are the guys and gals who are out writing citations, we are at 12 officers and 2 sergeants. So we have 2 teams, one day shift team and one swing shift team. And then we have our special events team, which I don't necessarily count, even though it falls under my umbrella. I don't necessarily count them towards my enforcement team, if you will, and that's another 3. So total combined with myself in the unit, we have a total of 18 people.
Okay, thank you, and that helps. And how do you deploy the officers? How and when do you know where to send them? Do you have a rotating schedule? How is that? How do you determine that?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. We actually deploy equitably throughout the city. And what I mean by that is we deploy by division. So each day, the unit is sent out to a particular division in the city. And I try to split up our day shift and our swing shift team. So we have that coverage in 2 different portions of the city each day. And we look at where our accidents or our collisions are occurring. And that information is provided through DOT when they get our information, but we also get information from our crime analysis unit, and we get a hotspot map every month at the beginning of each month. And we will look at that, we'll analyze that with my sergeants, and then my sergeants and I develop an enforcement plan. And then we deploy them to those particular areas where we are seeing the most collisions. Now, those typically, as Jesse mentioned earlier in his slide, those typically coincide with our priority safety corridors where we're having the most collisions. So that is where we deploy, and that's where we spend the majority of our time, is in those particular areas.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you think that writing more citations is more effective in slowing down traffic, or just giving warnings? What do you think is in your opinion, what's the most effective strategy? Because we hear from our community, oh, they're just ticketing me for speeding. Well, yeah, you're speeding, so we're ticketing you, but is a warning more effective? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, and I can base this from personal experience. I've been pulled over and given a warning, and I've been pulled over and given a citation, and the citation hurts a lot more. It stings a little bit in the pocketbook sometimes, but it also makes you think twice when you're driving faster. So I think a mere presence and mere visibility is helpful. I think the warnings are helpful, but I'll give you another personal example. My daughter got a citation last week from CHP, and she's 23 years old, and she's working to save money, and it hurts, and I know it definitely changed her behavior. And so again, 2 personal experiences, not only myself, but also for my family. I think the citation works. I really do.
Yeah, I won't share my own personal experiences on that, but someone who I live near Hillsdale, one of the Vision Zero corridors that we're trying to slow down traffic, there is definitely a lot of speeding going on that street. Thank you. I appreciate those answers. That's helpful. So I have questions regarding the walk and roll program, and wondered, I love to see the pilot programs at the 2 schools that were involved, but when and where will we be expanding that program to other schools? I think other schools could really, promoting walking and riding safely to school is a good strategy, and it gets our children to think about health, number 1, safety, number 2, and getting out of vehicles when they age. So Anne, what's the strategy for expanding the program? How will that happen? And I have any number of schools that I could throw out there and recommend.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Foley. I would really appreciate it. So we should be in touch after this meeting or this week or next week. We currently serve about 60 elementary and middle schools, mostly elementary. We want to bring in, ideally, we'd love to have every public school in San Jose be part of the walk and roll program. We are expanding it also to high schools. So our current funding allows us to do that. Our 2016 Measure B funding allows for that. the pilot program for Viva Escuela was really well received. You know, even the neighboring communities it was very positive feedback. They both those schools want to do it again. And we have other schools that are actually joining the program because they heard about it and they want to have their own Viva Escuela. So we are, now that we have sort of like a template for how to do it, we expect and hope to do it at as many schools as our funding allows for. We had a lot of great cooperation from SJPD and Office of Cultural Affairs to streamline this process. So we could use it as a way to introduce any schools that you have in mind to the walk and roll program. You know, it's great, you know, to have kids walk and roll for all of the reasons that you said, you know, for their health, right? Is that we have recommended daily exercise for kids. And then this week I just happened upon a TED talk from an urban planner in Canada who said it's also great for sort of developing kids' autonomy. So for those of us, you know, I walked to school like in the 70s, and you know, on the way back, there was like a little creek that I would stop by, and I think I looked at it and collected stuff and put it back and all this stuff for like an hour after school. And those are some of my favorite memories. We really want kids to have that again. As this person mentioned, we went in one generation from most kids walking and biking to school to now most kids being driven to school. So we're here to change that, not only through Viva Escuela, but through safety education. Last year we did it virtually. So we didn't really, we paused the program in some ways, but we adjusted to the pandemic setting so that we could share safety education with kids. We've revamped our bike rodeo, which I explained in the presentation. You know, working on just bringing in as many schools as possible. We are focusing on schools that are near Vision Zero corridors. There's not to say that we won't take any school into the program. It's just that we are being a little more proactive about bringing those schools into the program.
Okay, I have a couple of schools that border either side of Hillsdale, so that might be a good place to start. But if this is something that would be in partnership with the local schools, so can we connect PTAs, parent clubs would be the good conduit, because they're the ones who have to get the buy-in. So can we maybe talk about how later, Anne, on how to get that information and connect you to some of the parent clubs, and then I'll leave this and then turn it back to you, Chair. Is that back in the day when I was elementary school age, which is a lot longer than you, Anne, I walked to school on a regular basis, and when I go to my hometown and do that drive, I think, wow, I really walked that every day, both directions. How did I? Because it felt like it was probably close to a mile, and I didn't complain about it. It's just what you did. We didn't even, you know, we didn't think about mom and dad taking us. Although I will also share, when I got to high school, it was more like a 3-mile walk, and I always make my dad give me a ride. So, because I was always running late intentionally. Anyway, I'll leave you with that, because walking to school, it was fun too. All right, thank you, Councilmember Perales. I'm finished.
Just two quick other things on some of your questions, Councilmember. One of them is that for crashes that are not in the police data, we have been trying to do or begin an initiative reaching out to the county to bring in injury data. That is a long project, so we've applied for that data, and we are we've had one meeting with the council for the county so far, but we need to have more of them because they don't fully understand the concept. So that is where that is. And then the other thing we're talking about expanding the walk and roll program. One of the things that I highlighted in the presentation, because I think it's a cool new way to go, is the Y plan is an interesting model for expanding to older school. Basically, like what the current walk and roll model is very much focused on elementary schools. The Y plan model is an interesting way to engage middle and high school potentially. I believe that Y plan's next school that they're hopefully going to work with us on is a middle school. And so we're interested to see if that's a strategy that we could use to worked with the upper ages of school age children to engage them around the design of the roadway around their schools. And with a preference for ones that are near Vision Zero corridors.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. And I apologize if there's some background noise. I'm in the basement, the furnace is right over here, and it's keeping my wife warm upstairs, but it's just making noise for me down here. I don't see any other hands. I do have a couple questions myself, and so thank you, Councilmember Foley, for yours. And I'll go into a couple of the items I think that you had touched on as well, and I think kind of going from personal experience, and I know unfortunately the data, I believe it was the same back when I was a young man as it is today, where we have a lot of male drivers that ultimately are behind the wheel on these incidents. And I know personally as well, as a young male driver, it was very influential when I would get a ticket for speeding, as I got a couple of them. And in fact, to the point where if I didn't have a ticket, right, and I knew that I had an ability to either get one, if you will, where it wouldn't affect my insurance, or that potentially had an opportunity for a warning, it wasn't as, I think, personally, discouraging as a driver. But as soon as I would get a ticket, and I know that, all right, that's it. If I get another ticket, now I'm really, looking at some trouble, both at home and literally with my license. But it really slowed me down. It did. And so I know, and as I think Lieutenant and I was saying, personal experience, that consequence is really influential to people's driving habits. And I know, again, from personal experience, especially for young men who end up being behind the wheel on a lot of these cases, and a lot of the motorcycle incidents as well. And I think any one of us likely has had the experience where when you see a police vehicle or motorcycle on the road, and you look down at your speedometer, right? Or you're like, am I speeding? Or you're nervous or whatever it may be, that sort of gut reaction that happens to all of us. The reason that happens typically is because there's a consequence, right, tied to that. And it's that ticket, that citation. And so you kind of, you look to that. And so I think because of that, even just the presence, as we know, of marked units, that in itself helps to, slow speed and helps to encourage people to follow the rules of the road, be more vigilant as drivers. And ultimately something that, right, I had to learn, right, from my parents, the comments as a young kid was driving and to have a license is a privilege, it's not a right. And these are the reasons why, it's not a speed limit, doesn't simply exist so that officers can give us tickets. We're here in this task force because we know that it exists, because it's the #1 cause for these incidents, for KSI. Speeding, still that #1 cause. So speed limits and then speed enforcement exists because we're trying to reduce these numbers, like our vision here, down to 0, right? We want people to be safe on our roads, and we don't want people to be on either end of an incident like this, whether they're the victim or ultimately the driver, as we know that changes their life completely too. And so I have been advocating, as the lieutenant knows, for the increased units within our traffic enforcement unit, or increased officers, I should say, within the traffic enforcement unit. And we are still woefully inadequate in our staffing numbers, but we recognize that we are still inadequate in our overall staffing numbers within the police department, so we have to build accordingly. And I think we, to adequately staff our city, we need to be back up to the 40 plus traffic enforcement officers that we had over a decade ago. And just again, that visibility of seeing those officers out there, I think is going to make a significant difference. And I think we've seen it in these numbers. Unfortunately, that is absolutely a factor in regards to the rise that we've seen in KSIs over the last decade. In regards to the flyer that you were showing, and let's see here. I was trying to go to the slide that it was on. And I don't think you have to put it up, but it was slide 23, and it was just the one that talked about crossing the crosswalk. And what I noticed there was that in the crossing safety tips and stuff, it didn't say anything about the consequences. And in this case, I'm not talking about citations for like jaywalking. What I'm talking about is what we learned about in the data that we saw, which was an earlier slide, and trying to go back to it, but 60+%, I think it was 65% of the people walking that were killed were crossing outside of the crosswalk. And so just kind of, I don't know if that's something that was already discussed, and maybe there was a reason as to why, we don't want to have some compelling info around, hey, it's literally more unsafe to cross outside of the crosswalk, and that we have, a majority, 65% of individuals that are killed crossing outside the crosswalk. Was that a consideration, including some kind of info or, a sentence or something about that? If somebody can speak to that.
I think we could do that on the back. But what had happened was that we're basically our precedent, in a sense, is the image behind my back here, which says "look out when it's dark out," and then it has the images that are similar. And on the very bottom below, you probably can't read it, but I'll read it for you. It says over 250 people have died in traffic fatalities in San Jose in the past 5 years. We felt that secondary message got lost in the first version of the sign, but the first version of the sign doesn't have a back panel. So we could see about having the data item on the back and see if it being the same size as the other, safety tips would make it not get as lost. So I think that there's space for that. We could give it a shot. If we haven't printed it yet, I'm fairly sure we haven't printed it yet.
Okay, yeah, and that was the idea, and I appreciate that in that first version there, that kind of message got lost, and I wouldn't want it to necessarily just be that, like, a small side note. I do think it's important or significant, something, right, that says 65% of fatalities, right, pedestrian fatalities are happening outside the crosswalk, or something like that, that gets you to think like, oh, okay, this, I know I should cross in the crosswalk. Oh, well, God, that's a pretty high number or significant, probability if I'm not. So thank you for taking that feedback, and I do see that backside of the version. That's where I was looking at it actually on those cross safety tips. Is could it exist there? So I appreciate that.
I do think you're bringing up a good point, and it's the sort of main thing that we have is basically the trouble here is that we're trying to educate adults, and adults have been crossing the street their whole life. And so how do you tell adults who've been crossing the street their whole life that they're not being attentive enough? And so I think that, possibly by messaging that, we might be able to make the point about why we're trying to do this.
Okay, great. Thank you. And my last question is actually in regards to part of the presentation you brought up on Capitol Expressway and Center. We know that Center Road is something we've been focused on, obviously, as a priority safety corridor. But it looks like at this particular intersection, right, we have a county road and then a city road. And so I wanted to see what is, and maybe from both DOT and then county roads and airports, what are the plans that we have collaboratively to create some safety improvements at this intersection. And either team can go first.
I'm happy to have County go first if you'd like to. We, as a general introduction, we did redesign Center Road in Vu's team in 2020. And so, you know, obviously the intersection of a different jurisdiction. So Center Road is in city jurisdiction and Capital Expressway is in county jurisdiction. Whenever we have that overlap, we obviously have to work in a new way with a partner. And so the Urban Logic tool highlights the need to do that. And the county roads and airports, they are working on an active transportation plan. So there's kind of an opportunity right now as they develop that plan to have this be a part. And I believe they're bringing that to us soon. And we're actually hoping that they'll present it at the next task force meeting, in the first one in 2022. We've talked to them about that. But we're also hoping that by, you know, us beginning to use the Urban Logic platform and it highlighting these big intersections where there's more crashes and more injuries, that will, you know, begin to give us the insights where we can have these intersection by intersection conversations, such as Capitol and Center. So we hope to do that, and then, you know, hopefully very soon. And so I'll hand it over to Harry if you want to make some comments, or not.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Thank you, Jesse. You know, we appreciate the presentation, and we're very sensitive to safety on our roadways. We operate a variety of roads. Expressways are a very unique type of road, and we recognize that. This segment of Capitol Expressway, you know, between 87 and all the way to 280 is on your priority network. That's the reason why we're on this task force. We're we're ready and willing, and look forward to working collaboratively with the city on the installation. You know, when there's a roadway that has, you know, two legs essentially of one jurisdiction and two legs of another, it's really important that whatever is installed is a comprehensive installation. So with that said, you know, I have a couple of comments. One is it's important for us to get access to the Urban Logic tool. You know, that's the first time I've seen it. And I'm sure that Jesse's shared it with some of our staff, but we need access to that tool. We've shared all of our crash data. It's available and shareable with the city, and it's public information. The crash rate is fascinating to me because right now the city is reporting it as an aggregate number, not a rate. And typically, rates relate to, you know, vehicle miles traveled per 100,000 people. And when you look at a road like Capitol, that has an average daily traffic of 70,000 vehicles. 70,000. That is a massive number of vehicles. It is a high-speed roadway. And we would be very interested in seeing the correlation between the quick builds that have been installed by the city and the subsequent, hopefully, reduction in the targeted type of crashes that are occurring. You know, I've talked to your John Risto about that, and I'm sure that it's very difficult to correlate data right now with COVID. But we, you know, the one fatality at that intersection was a very high-speed motorcycle fatality, very high speed. And you know, we're not exactly sure what means we would have for street racing or impaired drivers. And we need to dig deeper into that. And we need to understand what type of collisions are occurring, and then thoughtfully design those improvements to target those collisions or those behaviors that are occurring by drivers, especially if those behaviors or those collisions can be correlated to roadway improvements that deceive drivers or lead drivers to a sense of comfort where their comfort level needs to be reduced, so they correspondingly slow down. I think the same is for pedestrians. We both have data that shows 5 KSIs in 5 years. So we're looking forward to the opportunity to do that. And I know that's a little bit of a long answer, but it's important. I really would be fascinated to see the correlation between the quick builds that San Jose's been investing in and the corresponding reduction in crashes for the quick builds targeted reduction. We completely understand the desire to improve the pedestrian environment. And I think that's a kind of a separate view, because a lot of the pedestrian improvements are really viewed as livability and comfort. But when we haven't seen, kind of the pedestrian, crashes, and we'd be very sensitive to seeing whether or not that's an issue at this location. So a bit of a lot of information, but I think the bottom line is we look forward to working, and we would like to install improvements at that intersection. They just need to be carefully designed and target the behaviors that we're trying to correct. So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, certainly. And that's, I think one of the reasons we're happy to be having everybody here within these conversations, because it does it does get complicated in particular intersections, as you point out, Harry, that where there's 2 legs with one jurisdiction, 2 with another, and being able to ensure that we're looking at all the same data and being able to make the correct improvements is important. And as our DOT staff knows, and I brought it up at the last task force meeting, it's an interest of mine as well to understand the benefits of our quick build projects, or are they lacking of benefits, and then do we need to shift gears, right? And so being able to get that analysis, and these are all fairly new. I think I also will have a follow-up. I know we're running a little bit behind now for maybe the next meeting, but with some of the quick builds, because they are they're not a permanent material like I've seen in downtown. Now you get cars driving over those pylons, and then the pylon gets completely squished, and then it's gone, and and now it's now it's not as deterring or directing people in the way that we would hope. Nonetheless, I think I appreciate that comment and response, and look forward to hearing back, and maybe, as Jesse said, an opportunity to hear a little bit more about what the county's plans are, because you do have a large infrastructure to oversee yourself. Okay, I don't see any other hands. We are just a couple minutes behind, and so we'll move on to the next section here. We'll welcome in Sarah Labat, I believe, or Labat, and Susie Beecroft from EMC Research. They'll be presenting about 15 minutes, and then we'll follow with our Q&A, and then finish up with open forum.
All right. Hi, this is Rebecca Graham. Actually, I'm from MIG, and I want to just set the stage for Sarah and Susie's presentation. So we are consultant hired for the Vision Zero Strategic Communications. And before we just kind of go out with communications, we want to take a moment to look and assess awareness of the problem of pedestrian and street safety, and awareness of Vision Zero as well. So we're looking at a lot of different aspects. And when we're looking at a lot of complicated information, we want to enlist EMC to get really clear data back about what people who don't know about this meeting, people who don't know about Vision Zero, but are just using the streets. So they are going to walk us through that quantitative survey process, which is the first step in our strategic communications. Take it away, Sarah.
Great. Thanks so much, Rebecca. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Labat. I'm a principal with EMC Research. My colleague Susie Beecroft is here as well, but I'll be doing the talking today. And I believe somebody has a deck to load up that I'll be walking through. So hopefully they can do that.
Okay, just a moment on that case. I need to retrieve it.
Oh, I have it. If you want me to just share it from
yeah,
yours.
actually,
Okay.
yeah, that'd be great. Go
I
ahead.
just wasn't sure what you want,
Sure,
but I can
go
do
ahead.
it.
Thank you.
All right. Let me get this all the way. Okay. Hopefully you all can see that screen. Someone give me a thumbs up if you can, please.
Yes, yes.
Great, thank you. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'll walk through. I'll try to be fairly brief. I'm happy to take questions. Quick intro about EMC Research. We're a full-service opinion research firm. Our specialty is opinion research. So as Rebecca was alluding to, the work we do is really helping to understand how members of the public interact, understand, think about street safety, Vision Zero, or whatever the topic is we work on. So in this case, Vision Zero. But our work really is focused on bringing the opinion and thoughts of the public to groups such as yourself. We do all kinds of qualitative and quantitative research. We've been here in the Bay Area doing this work for over 30 years. I personally have been here for almost 20. So we really have a really good look at what people think about a lot of things here in the work we do. We've done a lot of work in San Jose and Santa Clara County. I grew up in Santa Clara County as well, not in San Jose, but spent plenty of time down in your area, so very familiar with the city. We also worked with MIG most recently for many years on the San Francisco Vision Zero program and really supporting the marketing and communications efforts around that and some of their innovative ways that they've been really tackling this challenge in San Francisco. Different challenge, but certainly a lot of the same consequences that they're really trying to make headway on. Our work, we really try to innovate just because we've been around a long time. We're always open to learning new methods, and certainly in our line of work, we have to be open to new methods as new ways to communicate come online. We do a lot of inclusive and multilingual research, including in this case, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And the other thing we like to do is really make sure we stay on for the life of the use of our work. So we'll collect the data, we'll help design it, and help you all work with what are we learning, but also we'll stay on. So if there's questions and other things that come up later, we're always happy to come in and say, well, in the research we did, this is the perspective on that question. Next slide, please. Oh, wait, it's me. I already forgot. It's Friday. So for this work, what we've been brought in to do here is a market research baseline survey, a quantitative survey. And really what we're trying to do, when I say benchmark, we're trying to set levels of understanding of various items, really with the intent that later you might do more quantitative research and track change over time as a result of the actions you're taking or the communications that you're putting out. So the things we're really focused on benchmarking here, attitudes about traffic safety, pedestrian cyclist safety in San Jose, awareness and understanding of Vision Zero in San Jose. Do people know what it is? Do they know what it's trying to do? And also questions about driving behaviors and different transportation mode usage. So really understanding, the ways that they're choosing to get around and the behaviors they say that they're exhibiting and how do those line up with the goals of Vision Zero. And really our goal here is to establish a sort of tangible touchstone to assess the change and impact of all of your Vision Zero program efforts through the comparison of these results from this survey to potential future tracking surveys. So really understanding what can we learn now so that later, once you've taken actions and done things and tried to get out there and change either physical environments or create communications, then we can use this to track any change against this current baseline. So a quick overview of how we're going to do this particular piece of research. This is a statistically representative quantitative survey of adult San Jose residents. The method we're using is called address-based sampling. Everything old is new again, and in our industry that means mail surveys are back through the mail. We're not actually surveying through the mail, but rather what we do is we take a list of addresses in San Jose. That's sort of the best, most robust source of contact information is mailing addresses. There's 98% coverage from the U.S. Postal Service. It allows us to select. Everybody has an equal chance of being selected into this random sample. We send them invitations through the physical mail to participate in the survey, but they're asked to participate primarily in an online survey tool. So you'll get a postcard. If you're selected, you'll get a postcard in the mail. It says, we're doing a survey. You've been randomly selected. It has a link to an online survey. There's also options if they can't do it online or prefer not to, they can call in and do it by phone. We also do have the ability to mail out surveys for people who really can't do it in any other way. We want to make sure it's as inclusive as possible so that the randomly selected households that are chosen can participate in the survey. Each postcard comes with a unique passcode, so that protects them from it protects access to the survey to only the individuals selected. They can only get in with the passcode and they can only do it one time. And so, this methodology, it's a little bit slower than other methodologies, but we really find that it's very broad and inclusive and allows us to get a really high quality representative sample of a very diverse community, making sure there's options available for everyone to participate. We're targeting 600 to 800 interviews here. With the mail, it's a little bit more of a passive collection process, so we kind of give a range. The 600 is the floor, but we always overshoot it just, because the response rates are a little bit variable. We'll offer the survey in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese, so anyone can take it through any mode, through any of those languages that they choose, and the postcard will be printed in all of those languages as well. And it'll take the average respondent about 15 minutes to complete the survey, which is a sort of typical burden level for a survey of this type. Just some quick notes on representative sampling. Essentially, this is the key to why we can do a survey of a smaller group of people and project it over the entire population that we're sampling from. We start with a random sample of households, and the mail-driven methodology really gives us the best place to start for that. We monitor responses as they come in, track demographics, and compare them against known census counts for the city to make sure that the sample we're getting is reasonably reflective of the distribution of the population of the city. We do a lot of targeted reminders using phone calls, text messages, anything we can find to get more contact information beyond mailing address for people. And we target those towards under-responding groups. We know certain groups demographically are less responsive to surveys generally, so we sort of start out with a strategy to make sure we are planning to and budgeting to follow up with those particular populations that have been selected into the survey to make sure they're responding proportionally to the rest of the city. We do use data weighting where necessary to adjust the sample once we're done to make sure it's really reflective of the population. And we protect the survey with a passcode to make sure every selected person can only participate once, and they can't sort of pass it to their friends and get a bunch of other people to take it. The design requires strict access control to the survey. So it's not the kind of survey where you put it on your website and send everyone to take it. Rather, they need to be randomly selected into the sample to be allowed to take the survey, because that protection allows us to tell you at a known margin of error, known margin of sampling error, what these results mean projected over the whole city. Don't worry about the data in these charts. We wanted to give you a look at what our charts typically look like. This is not San Jose data. You don't have to read it, but we wanted to sort of show you once we complete the interviewing, we go through the data, clean and analyze and weight it. We produce cross tabulations, provide you with a top line as well as a whole report with a lot of charts that graphically represent what we learned. And really that's so that we want to make sure this data gets used. So we'll work with Division 0 team, with MIG, to make sure that everybody understands what have we learned and how to use it. We always are running crosstabs after the fact and answering other questions. So, we want to make sure we're not just sort of giving you the data, we're really staying here to help you use it and understand it. Quick overview of the timeline. I think this is the end here for me. We're in the survey design phase now. We're just finalizing the survey instrument. We've had some excellent meetings with a lot of input from the whole range of the team. And we are just getting to finalizing the survey questionnaire. We'll be working on preparing for the mailing, the survey mailing for the rest of this month, which we've already started to prepare for, and getting it programmed and ready to start data collection. The data collection will start that second week of January. So we wait till after the holidays. December is a pretty bad time for mail-driven surveys. You're probably experiencing this, like lots of mail in the mailbox. So we usually try to hold a survey like this till after the new year, when it's a little bit quieter in terms of mail. So we start our data collection in January, It usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks to do that data collection. We want to leave plenty of time for the mail to land, for reminders to happen, et cetera. Then we'll be working on analysis and coming back with some reporting and ongoing starting in March or April and moving forward from there. So a few months out till you see some results, but we wanted to give you kind of the overview of the process and where we are right now. That is everything I have today. And with that, I'll stop sharing and I'm happy to take any questions from the group.
Thank you very much. All right, looking for any hands up. Not seeing any at the moment right now. Appreciate you providing that update and for the work that you're doing with us on that. I don't have any questions myself. We'll just continue to encourage, similar to the last item, that we find ways to collaborate and work together, especially on data sharing, as it sounded like on that last item. And then obviously that's the opportunity that we have here with these meetings, is to ensure that we are on the same page as we move through all of this work. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. No specific questions on that. So we will move to our open forum and we will allow 2 minutes. We do have a number of hands up, but we'll allow 2 minutes. And for those that haven't participated, you can use the raise hand function on Zoom. If you're calling in by phone, you will use *9 to raise your hand and then press *6 when we call on your name to speak. And our DOT staff will place up the timer and call on folks to let you know when your turn is. I'll now turn it over to Anna Lee from DOT. And Anna, I'm not sure if you're saying anything, but we can't hear you.
Sorry, I have a little problem with my technical here. Give me 1 second.
No worries, thank you.
And Tal, if you can help me with the unmute button.
Yes, sure.
Okay, council member, I'm ready for you to call the first public speaker.
Thank you very much. First up will be Tessa Woodmansey.
Hello, you can hear me, I guess. There's my little card.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, sweetie. Okay, good. So yeah, I mean, very good. Thank you for having Vision Zero and all the people there and all the research. But really, the research is in because it's really engineering our roads. All the money should be going towards engineering our roads. And I've been saying that, for many years. And, when I call up and I say, hey, there's a problem on Coleman, between Heading and Taylor, that needs to be, we need a bike lane there because it's so unsafe. And even on the Alameda, after the millions we spent on the Alameda, it's very unsafe to ride on the Alameda. It was not done for bicycles. Oh, bicycles are supposed to go on Park Avenue. That doesn't work. That's BS. It needs to work on all our roads. And it's very, very unsafe on the Alameda, almost deathly, because you made these bulb outs and, for pedestrian, to slow the traffic, very good, but there's no place for the bike. And it's very, very unsafe. And then what's happening, in terms of our, helping businesses by letting them be on our roads. I've been telling that over and over, that our bike lanes are being taken up by the corporations, that because they support your campaigns, and it's wrong. It's not Vision Zero. So that's those issues. And so it's really engineering our roads for safety. Like even on Stockton Avenue, there's the radius of the curve is terrible. It needs to be like Japantown, very squared off the corners. So they did a lot of work on Julian and Stockton, but it's still the radius is just like I call it, a zoom on to a highway. It's bad. And so we need to fix all of those on Stockton, all of the radiuses of the corners. And then lighting is also, I'm hearing, that both Lenzin and Julian, bad lighting. And so, these are engineering issues.
All right, thank you. Next up will be Mary Lou Avanzino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm grateful to be able to talk to you. I live on Edenvale Avenue, the street that the Hayes Mansion is on, which you probably know. It is a long street that there are speeders and it's dangerous. And I and neighbors have been lobbying our district representative, Sergio Jimenez, and before him, Ash Kaura and DOT to make the street safer. Over the 5 years, not much has happened. Yes, they decreased the speed limit from 35 to 30, but that made no effect. And then they put an edge line in, and that has had little or no effect. The reason I'm talking to you now is that over the discussion of a crosswalk, we have asked DOT for a crosswalk, especially at a gate where there's a mobile home park where the residents come out of the gate and there's no sidewalk on that side of the street there. They have to walk right onto the street to get over to the other side. We've asked DOT for a crosswalk there or another place because there is no crosswalk the entire about 1/8 of a mile. There's no crosswalk. And this is what DOT has told us in the past, that a crosswalk, quote unquote, gives the public a false sense of security. So you can't have it both ways, not putting in a crosswalk and then somehow intimating that the public isn't using a crosswalk, because there is no crosswalk oftentimes where there should be a crosswalk. So I wanted to let you, the committee, know that sometimes the public asks for a crosswalk, but they don't get it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next up will be call-in user 1.
Let's see, we have crime running rampant, and you guys are, beefing up the traffic enforcement. Please, I mean, you guys sound like Orange County all of a sudden, man. You ain't gonna have to pay these high fines. We don't care if it hurts. That's what I heard from the lieutenant. Nice fake story too about the daughter getting the ticket. What's going to happen is that lieutenant is going to call the other lieutenant in CHP, and the ticket's going to get thrown out, or daddy's going to pay it. So these fake cop stories, please. I've heard it before, and you wonder why people want to defund the police. Well, when you get traffic tickets and how they treat you, like you're a huge criminal because you went 10 miles over the speed limit, you wonder why. Right? You wonder why you have to have toy drives every other week during Christmas time. Well, because you have to make yourself look good after you gave a ticket for someone for $1,000, right? And raise their insurance rates. And look, if there was no money attached to it, you wouldn't do it. Okay, it's revenuing. It's a bottom feeder way to get money, especially towards the end of the year. You guys are all hot and heavy for it at the end of the year. You got to make your quotas. You guys say you don't have them and they're illegal, but you do. It's just in another way. But this whole thing makes me want to puke. Defund the TEU and put the money into proper crime enforcement overnight when the real crime happens. The felonies, the misdemeanors, the break-ins. You guys are going for the infractions during bankers' hours, the revenue, the public. And it's the only thing you have left, parking and tickets. Because that's the only power you have left, because you can't arrest people who do real crimes, because you guys don't push the DA, Rosa, for a real crime. But it's easy to push a traffic court judge to prosecute, have 100% prosecution rate like you're in communist China.
All right, our next speaker will be Edgar Ariano.
Hi, hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Awesome. Edgar Ariano, programs manager at California Walks. We've partnered with a few of y'all before. Just in the interest of collaboration and sharing resources, and in response to Councilmember Foley's question regarding the missing data and stuff, there is a tool that we use and we facilitated, data collection for communities that may not report injuries, go to the hospital, do the secondary steps after a crash. The tool's called Street Story. It's based out of the Berkeley Safe Trek office. You can look it up at streetstory.berkeley.edu. It's a tool that, at least in San Jose, looking at the map there's missing data still about, those unreported crashes and stuff. But I urge y'all to look into those tools as well, because there are narrative stories, people who prefer not to share out some of the impacts to them due to various reasons. I also am very encouraged to hear some of the design and sustainable efforts to really do the infrastructure fixes rather than unsustainably go down this path of more enforcement, which really targets communities that are in need of infrastructure fixes. So great work by the Vision Zero team and everybody who is taking on those design challenges. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Edgar. Next up will be Gina Leblanc.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, welcome, Gina.
Hi, I'm in my car, but I'm not driving because that would be irresponsible. So I've pulled over. I just want to reinforce that, this is a Vision Zero task force, and our vision is still zero. And the data, there's tons of data, but our numbers are not dropping. And I know road design is just at the top of the list, and that it just has to be, we have to move on these quick builds, and they have to be quick builds. And so with that, I have some questions that maybe can be addressed on the website, or you can email me, Jesse. But number one, that we passed the infrastructure bill in the federal government. Will San Jose have access to these safety improvement dollars? Can we use the money? Because I'm always told we don't have enough money from our quick bills or whatever, but there's money out there. What can we use? What can we do for our city? Also, that there was a passage of AB 43, the ability to reduce our speed limits. Can San Jose do this anywhere? Please. Can we get school zones down to 15 miles per hour? And also, my last question is about the status of the grant for Kurtner Avenue. My son Kyle was killed as a pedestrian on Kurtner Avenue, and so it's top of my mind always. And I know there were meetings last summer. I'd really love to know the progress of that. And I'd really love to get an update. Thank you all for what you're doing. And it's really important. And I really want to get to zero. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. And actually, I think it would benefit everybody to add to one of our future agendas. And we've discussed this in our planning around the infrastructure bill, but also other resources and legislative updates. We've done that before, and I think we absolutely will do that again at a future meeting. And then encourage our DOT staff, if there is anything independently, you can reach out to Gina on for obviously that next meeting, which won't be till next year. If you could do that, please. Next up will be Paul Soto.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Thank you, Edgar, for participating in this meeting. This meeting needs to hear what you had to say. I'm a part of that population, and I get real almost sickened by the grant making process, because the citizens that are getting hit on the streets and killed, okay, those are hit and runs, okay, and the city doesn't give that person any kind of resources to sustain themselves. They happen late at night, and so this person is homeless, this person is poor, okay, but as soon as he gets hit and killed, he becomes very, very valuable to places like Vision Zero, because they're going to write a grant and they're going to extract money from his dead body. But yet when he was alive, he was worth nothing as far as what the city was concerned, but now he's valuable. That to me is sick. And a lot of money that is created and generated to support this particular meeting is extracted from that. That's a problem. I got a problem with that. I got a serious problem with that. And the fact that others don't, that's a problem too. Okay, secondly, this survey, it's not going to be accurate. It's just not going to be accurate. I'm telling you, Mexicans are not going to sit there for 15 minutes and fill out something so that you can have more data points. That's just not going to happen, period. I guarantee you, I want to know what kind of data you're collecting on the people that are killed on the street. I want races, I want income levels, I want all that information. And that's information that you're not giving, because one of the primary ways that redlining affected people was infrastructure. I mean, come on, people, we needed equity definition so that we can really start applying it to the places where it most needed, which is this particular department.
Okay, next up is Robin Romer.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for the meeting. I wanted to comment on the crosswalk discussion, and because I feel crosswalks are really important, and there are lots of things that kind of get mixed up that might even warrant making them their own topic. And obviously, when I talk to my daughters, when they're 6 and 9, when I talk to them over crossing the street, I say, go to the crosswalk, go to the safest place you can find to cross the road. That's not the question. I think for us as kind of the adults and the planners in the room on how we design roads, we can't focus on the individual behavior of the pedestrian because they're more likely the victim than the perpetrator. And we often have 70-year-old grandmas getting killed. And if you hit a grandma on the road, it doesn't really matter if she's in a crosswalk or not. If you drive in a way that you hit a grandma, you're going too fast. And I think that's really important in that discussion. And one of the previous speakers also made a really good point about San Jose having policies that kind of make it sometimes difficult to get a crosswalk at a location where you want it or need it. So when we talk about messaging, I think instead of trying to reach every pedestrian, and especially maybe near homeless encampments, I would more suggest to put up signs saying, hey, drive slowly, pedestrians could be in the road, and to focus really on the driver behavior there. Also, the police has kind of a habit in their press releases to discuss if a person was in a marked crosswalk, which is totally irrelevant, I think, because often they miss that the person might have been in an unmarked crosswalk, which also exists. And last point, there's just a national trend and on state level as well to decriminalize jaywalking because of the racist and classist history that it has. So the whole debate about forcing people into crosswalks is a lot more complex, I think, than we could acknowledge in this meeting today.
Thank you, Robin. Next up will be Rosalinda Aguilar.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Vision Zero Task Force. My name is Rosalinda Aguilar, and I am the president of the Guadalupe, Washington Neighborhood Association. First off, I want to say I appreciate all the hard work that the Vision Task Force has done to date. But I do want to implore you to please start looking at the residential communities like ours that have historically have had heavy traffic accidents and have had high traffic, just high traffic in general. Our community is both an entrance and an exit to the downtown area. Our streets are filled by speeders who speed through our neighborhood and have no regard for the safety of our residents. I also want to let you know that we also had a fatality at the corner of Almaden and Willow on the Calle Willow corridor this last summer. 30 years ago, my 6-year-old cousin was killed, not in the intersection, she was on the sidewalk, but was killed by a car that sped out of control and went up on the sidewalk. You throw out statistics and numbers, but to those of us that have lost family members, there's a lot of trauma behind the statistics, trauma that stays in our family forever. And I know there's no complaints here. I just want to point out that at this corner, there was also a speed monitor display that was placed there that I know is very costly, and it was broken for a few years. It was recently fixed, and we appreciate that. Now there's a bunch of overgrown trees that cover that speed monitor display. And I think things like that, like the maintenance of the speed monitor displays, the trees that might be covering them, I just feel like the city can do a better job at regular maintenance so that we don't have to keep begging for these things to be fixed. That's all I have to say. I do appreciate all the work that you've done for our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be Sayanan Sivaraman.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I noticed in the meeting, first of all, thanks to the Vision Zero Task Force. I'm glad that the city is pursuing this. And I'm glad to see that we understand that there's a contribution from infrastructure and also a contribution from enforcement. And I noticed that missing data is an issue that keeps coming up. So I had a question, maybe more so for the police department. If I'm out and about and I see a near miss, should I, or like, you know, street racing or just like blatant speeding, I mean, should I call that in on the non-emergency line so we have more data, or is that just going to like overwhelm the dispatch?
This is an opportunity for public comment, so it's not an engagement between any of the presenters or yourself, but I can answer that once you're done.
Okay, yeah, I'm done.
Okay, that type of data would not be data that would be recorded by the police department and transferred over to DOT as far as like near misses. It is worthwhile conversation, as you've heard us, we brought that up before, but unfortunately not something, and so I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to call that in. That wouldn't be something that would be recorded. Next up will be Buki Wilson.
Hello, I wanted to thank you for all the efforts that you've made. I do appreciate them. I've noticed in the last 3 years, I would be focusing more on bicycle infrastructure. I've noticed that you have lanes, and I think the designer, I've had conversations with him. More of a comment on the enforcement of those. Like you yourself had mentioned, Raul, that a lot of the bollards have been smashed, and I see people merging in them, and then it becomes, well, that's not typically safe. I don't mind traffic. I kind of have a history of cycling, and I sort of like that manicness, but when I'm with my wife, she doesn't like it as much. So it doesn't really lend to be very safe, or at least feel safe. And ultimately, speeding seems to be the thing that the overlying theme of all of this. You know, if you can stop for a pedestrian, no matter where they're crossing, you're not going, that fast. You can stop. I mean, I'm not talking about expressways. I'm talking about surface streets. I live in the Nagley Park area, and I clearly hear people speeding at least probably up to 40 miles an hour, if not more. I noticed you had like a speed thing on Williams Road, which was great. I think people saw that and they slow down. The minute you take it down, people are flying by there, hitting the cement barriers, knocking down neighbors' trees. Basically, I think just speed, and then also enforcement and maintenance of the cycling roads too, because I've actually had a lot of not only moving out of the lane to make accommodations for the illegally parked car. So now I'm in traffic. I'm also catching debris and getting flat tires, which, I know it's not holier thing, but there's a lot of broken glass and debris in those lanes as well. And that's my time.
Right, thank you very much. Next up will be Blair Beekman.
Hi, thanks for the meeting today. As always, it is open public policies and accountability that can help better define our good practices and good direction and organization. There are still some possibly serious issues with KSI statistics we are just starting to clear up. We first need to organize how a task force can address organized crime more directly and law enforcement questions at this time, and to acknowledge that 4G, 5G, and now smart streetlight LED technology are simply putting a whole lot of new surveillance and data collection into our local neighborhoods. It is from this place, then we can, once we have that organized and understood, I think that can allow ourselves to focus on task force organized crime issues more directly, and to start to focus then to return to the focus of Vision Zero issues, which I think should be first and foremost. We should talk about these law enforcement questions in terms of, there's speed light camera issues, AOPR issues. We can return to those good subjects, and what needs to be, a very measured, minimal process for the future of this sort of technology in our local neighborhoods that has good open public policy ideas. We can organize with all that's going on right now with the law enforcement questions and such. I'm trying to, in my haphazard way, explain ways to do this. With 31 seconds, the well-established, well-organized good ideas of reimagine, equity, open public policy ideas, and of course, green sustainability is how law enforcement tools can become a more open, community-centered dialogue to solve issues. And from this, we can invite current looters and criminals themselves to help contribute to their better ideas and concepts of open participatory community democracy and more positive long-term community sustainability. This is a project we need to work on together. Let's organize and do this well.
Thank you, Blair. Next will be caller with the last four digits ending in 4379. And again, you'll have to press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hi, I just wanted to thank Edgar for bringing up Street Story and the last caller that mentioned near miss data. It's incredibly important, and unfortunately, I'll just bring up that I did send this exact tool to the DOT more than a year ago, and just explaining, and well, I mean, and they know the importance, but just kind of putting it out there. This is a great tool for communities to adopt, and I think it's just been dismissed, and so now we still don't have that data, a year or 2 years later. It's sad to see that the traffic fatalities are still close to, a 25-year high of 60, I think the data point is. And I'll just mention that this year the council approved a budget that suspended a council policy to allocate excess construction excise taxes. And as a result, the council reallocated over $4 million in excess taxes from pavement maintenance and traffic safety to projects like the airport connector that have absolutely no impact on traffic-related deaths. This $4 million could have been used to speed up pavement maintenance and traffic safety projects for bikes and peds. This funding also could be used to staff up to deliver these projects quicker as the budget dictates. So it's really disappointing, and I brought that up to all of the council members that sure, pavement maintenance might be fully funded over a 5 or 10 year span, but when traffic-related deaths remain at a high, we should be delivering these projects quicker than waiting for that 10-year timeline. So it was unfortunate, but at least we're going to have a fancy airport connector that the mayor's prioritizing. It's a bit telling to see how much of a priority these deaths really are. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And our last speaker will be Nancy Macias.
All right, hello, can you hear me? Yes, okay.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning. So I live in the north side neighborhood here in San Jose. It's District 3, so it might be just outside of Vision Zero. But I did want to say that there is a lot of what I feel it might be non-local traffic that really does speed down 10th Street and 11th Street. And right down the street from me, we have an elementary school. So it's Grant Elementary School and a library. So it's Joyce Ellington Library. They're right next to each other, which makes the community really walkable, or at least it's inviting to, have the elementary school there, to have, wanting families to maybe encourage their children to walk to school, like we were mentioning earlier, or bike to school. But it is extremely scary to try to cross 10th Street, say on Washington, for example. There are pedestrians that will cross on Washington anyway, even though there isn't a crosswalk there, just because our neighborhood is very walkable. A lot of people like to, go on a stroll, go to the park. The Kester Park is right here too in our neighborhood. But because of the speeding, it can also discourage some people that just feel unsafe crossing 10th Street, coming from maybe like, the other side of 10th Street to come over to our side. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that and just speak to how could we reduce the speeding that does occur. The speed limit is set to 30 and 25 by the school, but people often go 40 miles an hour plus. That's just very common to have speeding going on, and it's very scary, and it just discourages people from being out there and feeling safe. So that's all I wanted to say, but thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our public speakers that participated today, and all of our task force members as well for being here. As we move forward with the task force, we're going to continue to encourage more participation from our members. I think Councilmember Foley and I were asking the questions today, so hopefully we can get a little more engagement at our next meeting. The next Vision Zero update at City Council is going to be March 2022 at the Transportation and Environment Committee. As always, all attendees will be given a short survey following this meeting. If you can please fill that out. Once again, please stay safe and happy holidays and happy New Year to everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
Just a quick thing, since it's related to one of the questions, is that the theme of the meeting in March 2022 is AB 43. And so if you want to hear more about which streets can have their speed limits, posted speed limits, possibly reduced under the new state bill, please come to that meeting.